quickly do some housekeeping. There is no planned fire alarm today. If you hear that, run. That's not quite how Ben told me to say it, but I do try to inject some humor into this sort of things before we go on to the heavy business. The Windrush engagement team, led by Abby. Thank you so much, Irene. There's so many VIPs in this room. I could spend the next 30 minutes just basically greasing everyone's elbows, but let's not do that. Let's just know that everyone here is so important and your views do count. And this is the area, all the activities for this conference is limited to this area, to this gorgeous Playfair library. And anywhere you see that is private, please do not go there. The toilets are downstairs, but there is toilets also up here if you need, I think that might be the ladies. So just find your way around or ask any of the helpers if you need help. So without much further ado, I'm Labake Fakule. I'm based here as an assistant professor and also the lead for the university's race review implementation. That's the academic lead. I co-lead it with the university EDI director, Ms. McLean, who cannot be here today because she's on annual leave. And I would just like to invite Chris Cox to give his welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Labake, and I will keep this brief. I don't actually stand between you and lunch, but I know you've got a very full programme. And please, if you do need to run in an orderly manner. It's a real honour and privilege for the University of Edinburgh to be hosting today's event and to be a partner in today's event. This is a hugely important day for all of the partners, for all of you and for Scotland, and we are very, very aware of that. This is an old university, which I'll come back to in a moment, but our plans are very, very much forward-looking. So our mission statement as a university is that our graduates and the knowledge we create with our partners make the world a better place. Those partnerships are increasingly need to be diverse, so we draw on a much more diverse range of experience, expertise and insights than has previously been the case. We are very aware of that. So the kind of knowledge that's going to come out and new learning that's going to come out of today, we would see as a great example of the kind of partnerships we want to encourage, foster and actively engage in, which is why it's so important so many of you have been here today, and you're extremely welcome, as I say. I did just want to say a word about the race review that Labake highlighted. And that's one of the reasons I've got the pleasure of welcoming you, because I led one part of the race review alongside what was very deep academic research on the university's history and our connections to race and racial theory. As I say, we're an old university. You're in the 6th oldest university in the UK. The oldest four of those are in Scotland, 2 somewhere in the south of England that you may have heard of. That means that we have been looking into our history into centuries of existence where very few other UK universities even existed. And when the race review was commissioned, we knew that there were many wonderful things about the Scottish Enlightenment period and great benefits to the world, and we knew that there was a more difficult side to that story. And we were determined to really uncover that, more elements of that story, and that really did come through in the race review. And I just wanted to specifically say that when the review found with deep evidence base that this university was involved in the development of forms of racial science, which were deeply problematic, we knew some of that, but not all of it. And it was deeply shocking and disturbing for university leadership and the wider community. We're very lucky that with Labake and other leaders' help, we're seeking to seek redress on some of those issues and to take positive action. One thing, for example, I wanted to highlight is that in order to ensure full access to our programmes. We've already been one of the UK leaders in a Black British Scholarships programme. I'm very proud to be involved in that, and we're now seeking to double the number of those scholarships so that we can just begin to make the kind of difference that's needed, but we know there's a huge amount to do. I also didn't want to duck a rather uncomfortable truth about this very room that you're in. So, designed by Playfair, the great architect, you'll see when you look around the room that the figures that are represented here in no way represent the diversity of individuals who've made a huge difference both to this university and the wider world, and we are painfully aware of that, and we're taking steps to address it. You might see in the hallway downstairs there's an initial intervention to really juxtapose some of these more historical portraits and busts with a much more modern, diverse feel, and we're determined to make all of our spaces welcoming to all. But what we've done downstairs is just the start. What we will be doing is making changes to this room and many of our other historic centres to make sure we will fully reflect the diversity of brilliant people that have been connected to this university, and through QR codes to make sure everybody can understand the good and the bad of our past. And all of this links to an apology issued by Peter Matheson, our principal, particularly around some of those really difficult elements of racial science that unquestionably came out of this university 200 years ago or so. So, I want to come back to the positive, because this is such a hugely important day. We engaged with many community groups as part of our race review. This is a wonderful follow-on from our point of view on this hugely important Windrush agenda. We know, as in all the partnerships that we're involved in, we will learn as much as we can impart through today and beyond, and we're very excited and positive about finding ways that we as a university, through our staff and students, can engage in this critically important initiative in really positive ways. Thank you again for joining us and for giving us the honour of hosting today. I wish you all a fantastic day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful welcome address. And, okay, I think I skipped something there. What is next on my program is listening, learning, and building community confidence through trusted engagement by Reverend Clive Foster, the Windrush Commissioner. So, can I please invite you all